Welcome to Syndicated Nightmares, where each week we take a deep dive into an episode of Freddy's Nightmares based on the Nightmare on Elm Street film series. Hosts Dave and Michelle are covering episode 17, Love Stinks, which aired February 26, 1989, written by Jeff Frelich and Michael DeLuca, and directed by John Lafia. So the synopsis of this episode is, after teenager Adam is coerced into cheating on Laura, played by Tamara Glynn, with Lonnie, a girl he meets at a party, he finds that she is looking for a more permanent relationship. Meanwhile, Adam's friend Max is forced to abandon his planned summer trip and take a job in a pizza place, working under his creepy, tyrannical uncle, played by Jeffrey Combs.
Great.
So, we learn in this episode that Beefy Boy is now Cheesy Boy, a pizzeria.
Yes.
Which I guess it would make sense if Beefy Boy wasn't doing all that well. Yeah, that it would convert into, or it would be sold to another restaurant.
And I liked the callback to prior episodes, because were there a couple episodes with Beefy Boy?
Yeah, a Rebel Without a Car had reference to Beefy Boy, because the boy worked at Beefy Boy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think in another one there was a Beefy Boy commercial that was playing on a TV in the background. So yeah, they have quite a few Beefy Boy references throughout the first season at least.
Yeah, and the John Cameron Mitchell one, whatever that was called. It's a Miserable Life.
It would be fun if there was like a Nightmare on Elm Street amusement park, kind of how they have like Harry Potter World. Mm-hmm. And they had like a Crave Inn to eat, and then they also had a Beefy Boy or Cheesy Boy.
That would be amazing. Yeah, I would love it.
When I make my first like $1 trillion, that's exactly what I'm going to build.
A nightmare theme park.
Oh yeah. Oh, that would be so much fun.
It would be, yeah.
And there would be a haunted house, and it would have Freddy in it, and then maybe just for fun on like the side, you could visit Camp Crystal Lake, and then on the other side you can visit Haddonfield, just to like mix it up a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, that would be great.
I'm working on that first trillion.
Yes. Maybe even a Chucky Land, like the factory from the end of Child's Play 2 would be fun to walk through.
Yeah, and it could be like a faux walkthrough or like tour of the Good Boy factory, and then things can go all crazy and amok, and then one of the good guy dolls comes to life and kills people.
Yes. Fantastic.
Okay, anyway, back to Beefy Boy is now Cheesy Boy.
So yeah, the episode opens with a commercial on the TV, and then we pan over, and there's a couple in bed together. And the guy is Adam, the girl is Laura, but we don't see her face. And they're just sort of making out. They're fully clothed, and there's a party going on downstairs. Mm-hmm. And she says, "I love you," and he doesn't say it back.
No. Well, he physically couldn't say it back. He just wasn't like able to. Not he didn't want to. He just couldn't do it.
And apparently she's so upset that she leaves. She leaves the party. They're at his house, and there's a bunch of people downstairs, and he, the guy Adam, goes down there and just starts ranting about, nobody down here is making people say I love you.
Yeah, because there's like little makeout sessions happening all throughout the party in the living room and in the dining room or wherever. Yeah, and that's when he's like, no one here has to say I love you.
Yes.
Like, well, maybe no one there has been dating their girlfriend for 3 years. How about that? He finds Max, his best friend, in the kitchen, and he's like telling him, oh, Laura's really mad at me because I won't say I love you, and now she won't have sex with me. And Max is like, just tell her that you love her, because I tell women all the time that I love them. I told Sarah I loved her last week, and I told Megan I loved her a month ago, and like he's just saying I love you all up and down the street so he can get laid.
Yeah, and Adam is like, I just want a girl who doesn't have any demands.
You and me both, buddy.
Right?
You and me both.
I don't know, but after 3 years, I don't think it's unreasonable to expect someone to say that. And then he sees this random hot girl on the couch, whose name is Lonnie,
Mm-hmm.
and she sort of invites him with her eyes to follow her upstairs.
How do you invite someone with your eyes, Dave?
Well, she invites him non-verbally. She just sort of gives him a look and then walks upstairs, and he follows her.
Do you give that look? Do you look at Nick with your eyes and invite?
Could. I don't know. How would you describe what she does?
Oh no, that was perfect. She does gives him that sexy bed look, Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no,
Yeah.
you're totally right.
Yeah, and then there's a little interjection by Freddy, and he's got like a corpse dressed up as a bride, and he says something about the look of love in reference to the corpse. So Adam and this new girl Lonnie are in bed upstairs, and she says something about like no demands, no explanations, like it's exactly what he wanted, someone who has no demands on him.
And she's like coaching him how to say I love you, and like he says it to her because she's like, oh no, it's just practice.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just practice, and you can say it to me, and there are no demands or anything. It's just one night. Yeah, and Adam thinks that he's hit the jackpot. Yeah,
so he does say it to this new girl when he hasn't said it to his girlfriend. Yeah, and then he wakes up and he's like, oh my god, I cheated on my girlfriend. But then next to him in bed is Laura, his girlfriend, who is played by Tamara Glynn, who was in Halloween 5. Yeah, so they're in bed, and then she like pulls back the sheets, and he's attached to her with, I'm sure it's not supposed to be an umbilical cord, but it kind of looks like that.
Yeah, I thought it was like their intestines or something, but the umbilical cord makes more sense.
Yeah, except it's not, it's not, it's supposed to be like lovers attached, not mother to child.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was creepy and weird.
Yeah. This episode was surprisingly gory. Which I liked. But yeah, then Laura like grabs a meat cleaver and she's like, I'll take care of this, and she chops at the cord with a meat cleaver and blood splatters all over them. In terms of gore, like most of these, I feel like TV shows can get away with it more now, having gore than back in the 80s, but this
really pushed the envelope.
Yeah, it was surprisingly gory in the context of the other episodes.
Maybe this was the episode that really got the Bible Belt writing their letters to whatever network this was on, and which eventually got it canceled.
Yeah.
So he wakes up with Laura in his bed, and they're attached at the stomach by an umbilical cord or intestines or something, and Laura just starts hacking away at them with the meat cleaver, and so then he wakes up for real to a love note from Lonnie.
And then, so he did cheat on his girlfriend. And then his parents arrive, and they're like the stereotypical cool parents. Like they're like, oh yeah, we told you can have a party. Like there's beer cans everywhere, and they don't care.
Yeah.
And he's apparently a baseball player, and there's a scout coming to the school. And then Adam has a talk with his dad about when to say I love you, and there's a lot in this first half of the episode. There's a lot about the importance of knowing when to say I love you, and how important it is and what it means. But which is sort of, I don't know, like as an adult it's important to only say it if you mean it, but I feel like in high school it's like you're still you're learning about relationships, and it doesn't have the same weight saying it at that age.
No, but at that age it feels like it has the same weight to it because it's the first time that you are saying it, and I think there's a lot of pressure, especially like on females by males to have sex, and then by females not to have sex, and like adults. So for a female not to get that like slut label, as long as she can say like, oh, I'm in a loving relationship with my partner, with my boyfriend, and she does have sex, then that like slut label probably won't be as eminent as it would have been if like they hadn't said I love you yet.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
That does make sense. Yeah, I can see that.
So saying I love you is a huge thing for a teenage girl to hear and to say. So I can see why Laura is like, come on, dude. You want me to sleep with me, but you won't say I love you. Like, we're talking about my reputation here.
I mean, I can definitely understand why she wants him to say it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's more like that everyone around him is like, saying it is or not saying it is the most important thing in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but I can definitely understand the girlfriend's motivations. Yeah.
The dad was a bit weird with his advice. Like, well, son, you just have to say it and you have to mean it. And if you don't, like, there's going to be problems. And
yeah.
We should note that the whole time the dad is giving his pep talk or his advice, his hand is all bandaged up from an accident that happened while he and the mom were on vacation.
Yes.
Yeah, but they don't really tell us what happened to his hand. They just, imply like, oh, your father hurt himself again. You know how he is.
Mm-hmm. And then the doorbell rings, and it's Lonnie, the new girl from last night. Mm-hmm. And she's brought him gifts. So sort of after saying she was, there were no demands or anything, now she's like, we're in a relationship. Mm-hmm. And then Laura, his girlfriend, shows up, and Lonnie says, he's mine now. He told me he loves me. And Laura runs off crying.
Yeah. Which I feel like this would actually happen to a high school couple. That the one girl would be like, oh no, it's no strings attached. It's fine. And then when they do sleep together in the morning, she's like, oh, we're dating. You're going to meet my parents.
Yes.
You break up with your other girlfriend.
And I felt so bad for the girlfriend because she's like, she's been wanting him to say I love you. And then, she shows up at his house and there's some other random girl saying, well, he told me he loves me.
Well, yeah. And so then that's going to eat away at her self-esteem because she's going to think like, well, why couldn't he say it to me? Like, what's wrong with me?
Yes.
Yeah. It's like, oh, no. Lonnie just knows how to talk the talk, I guess.
Yeah. And so Adam has to tell Lonnie that he didn't mean it, and she gets upset, and then his mother is suddenly appears out of nowhere and is mad at him for that too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for telling Lonnie that he loved her when he actually doesn't. Which I can kind of see from like a mom's point of view. Like, okay, son, don't go around breaking hearts for no reason. Mm-hmm. But we find out later that the mom has other reasons why she's upset.
Yes.
Then in the next scene, Adam is meeting a baseball scout at the high school. And Lonnie stops by with all her drama. And she's like, oh, don't listen to him. He'll tell you whatever you want to hear. And then he'll take it away from you. Or like she tells the baseball scout that basically Adam will tell anyone that he loves her or loves them. And then he'll take it away. And the scout's like, I'm not putting up with this bullshit. And he just leaves.
Right. She's sort of like it's like a high school Fatal Attraction. She's like the Glenn Close character.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Adam is like all pissed off and he goes to leave, but he passes by like this box of books labeled Women's Studies books. Mm-hmm. And did you catch some of the title names for these? I wrote some of them down.
It was like, I'm okay, you're a guy.
That was one. One was Love Stinks, a woman's handbook. And then another one was It's okay, you're just angry.
Oh my god. I missed that one.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, and then there was something like it's not you, it's all men, something like that.
Nice.
Did you notice that the exterior of the house in this episode is also the house in the pilot episode?
No.
They used the same exterior shot again.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe they did move in to the house that, what are their names? The twins that were in Sisters
Merritt
Keepers.
and Lisa?
Merritt and Lisa. Yeah, so maybe they did move into that house.
Oh.
Because Merritt's in, like, the psych ward right now, and the
True.
dad is dead, so it's just the mom and Lisa.
Yeah, they could have downsized. And I guess, I mean, Adam and his girlfriend have been together for a while, but his family could have moved within Springwood.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, maybe they just all moved together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, it never says where Laura lives, so she could be in the next town over.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, she's not in any of the high school scenes.
No. Yeah, who knows where she goes to school. So anyway, Adam is home. Oh no. So Adam is like looking at all these women's studies books, and then Lonnie comes up behind him, and she knocks him out, but he wakes up at his house.
And then he has another conversation with his dad about, you have to watch what you say. And his dad, it looks like the dad's hand, it looks like his ring finger is missing.
Which is allegedly what happened to him while he was on vacation with the mom.
I don't feel like I would be freaking out a bit if I had lost a finger, but
yeah, that's true.
He doesn't seem to mind.
No, I mean it's his ring finger, so he only needs it for one purpose, and if he's already married, oh well. So Lonnie starts obsessively calling Adam with I love you, we're always going to be together. She's just like taunting him with all these like words of affection. And then Adam invites Laura over to tell her that he loves her.
Yes.
Because that will allegedly fix everything.
And it seems to. It's like she accepts his apology.
Yeah, she does.
But then as they're embracing, he keeps seeing Lonnie's face on the TV screen. And
then Laura screams for some reason.
Yeah, I guess she goes to the kitchen to get food.
Oh, yeah.
And then he follows her in there, and her head is boiling in a pot. which is also maybe that's a Fatal Attraction reference, because in the she boils a rabbit in the movie, but still.
Oh yeah.
Discovering something in boiling water.
There you go.
Yeah.
And so then Lonnie and Adam's mom were the ones who put Laura's head in the boiling pot, and the dad, he's like, his fingers and his hands are like all cut up or something. Yeah. And they go on to explain, the mom says that I love you is serious business. And then Lonnie goes to cut up Adam, but he wakes up at the party, and Laura is actually Lonnie.
Yeah.
They did like a switcheroo. And this is where it kind of confused me a little bit. So Laura, we didn't see Laura's face in the beginning. And that's because Laura looks identical to Lonnie, and Lonnie looks identical to Laura.
Which I'm
right?
Right. It's like a twist, but I'm not sure why.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they did that. I think Laura was prettier than Lonnie anyway, so.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, but not to like pit two women together with their looks, but I like the girl next door look a lot more than the sexy seductress look.
Yeah. And then the parents come home from their fishing trip, and they're like, we brought our friend's daughter, and it's I don't even know what to call her. It's Laura. It's Tamara Glynn.
Yeah, the girl's name is Lonnie, but she looks like
one night stand Fatal Attraction thing was with someone who looks exactly like his girlfriend.
Yeah,
it's
so weird. I don't like that whole switcheroo thing, or like why they did that. I was totally on game with this half of the episode until they did that, and I was like, no, you don't need to make it complicated. It's okay.
Right. But I guess like the twist is that, he wakes up and it's like it all didn't happen, but then, here we're introducing you to this girl again who's probably gonna make things crazy for you.
Yeah, because he kind of had this look like, oh shit, like, what am I gonna do?
Right. Although
then,
he could, choose not to have sex with her.
Yeah, that's true. There's always that choice.
Right.
Yeah, and then the episode, well, at least that half, like, completely ends. We don't know anything that happens to Adam or Laura or Lonnie.
And then it's on to Max, who was the friend at the party scene at the beginning,
who was telling women all up and down the street, I love you, so he would get laid.
Yes. Yeah. So it starts out with Max's nightmare, and it's like he's being chained by a sumo wrestler.
Yeah, I put that he's being tortured by a sumo wrestler at his mom's command.
Yes.
Because Max doesn't have a job.
Yes, and he's about to graduate high school and just wants to spend the summer traveling.
Mm-hmm. I don't blame him. I wish I could have done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but my first job was right after high school. I was working at a video store. And it was awesome. It was so much fun.
I always wanted to work at a video store.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. I felt like Randy in Scream because he worked at a video store. And I would recommend Nightmare on Elm Street to like everybody when they're like, oh, I want to watch a scary movie, and be like, well, I have one for you. Yeah,
that's so great.
Oh yeah, it was awesome.
Mm-hmm. I worked at a local film production company the summer between high school and college, like that did like the local commercials. Mm-hmm. So it was fun to be like, to work in a studio and see how they film stuff. Oh, it was a good experience.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Puts my video store to shame. That's all right.
No, but video store sounds awesome though.
It was a lot of fun. The only thing I didn't like about it is when I would have to call people because they were late with their movie, and so they had like late fees, and they would get so upset with me for calling them to remind them like, hey, you've had our movie for 2 weeks, can you return that? Like they would get so mean and nasty. I'd be like, this is just a courtesy call, asshole. Right. Like return our damn movie.
What happens if somebody, like if you rent a movie and you never bring it back?
We were able to put their name into collection for not the retail amount. Well, it might have been the retail amount. When we bought those VHS tapes, to let you know how long ago it was when I graduated high school, VHS was still popular. DVD hadn't really come out yet. And so VHS tapes, each one cost like $120. And then the video store would buy it, and by renting it out each night, that's how they made their money back. So if a person kept the VHS tape, we could put them into collections for $120 plus their late fees.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So some people like had it racked up to over $300 that went into collections. And of course, like their membership was null and void, so they couldn't rent from us again. But, video stores back in 1997, they were like a dime a dozen. So, you could just rent movies all willy-nilly and no one cared. So nowadays, I think there's only like, it's like the last of the unicorns. There's like only one video store left.
Yeah, they're nowhere to be found.
Yeah. Ours here is called Family Video.
Oh, there is still one there?
Mm-hmm.
I remember years ago in college, I rented Child's Play 2 from a video store.
Yeah.
And it broke in my VCR.
Oh, no.
And I felt terrible, and I called them, and it was like, what should I do? And they were like, oh, yeah, that's fine. Like, they didn't care. And then I was a little offended. Like, it's a great movie. You should care.
Maybe they just, wrote it off or something.
Yeah, I think because it wasn't a new release that they weren't bothered. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, we would buy, if the new release was going to be a hit, like a lot of people were going to rent it, we would get, 10 or 15 copies of it. But then when it wasn't a new release anymore, we would sell those copies, and then that's when you would be able to buy them for $20 or $25. because the video store, they tried to get some of their money back, but I mean, well, usually they got all of it back just through rental fees. But yeah, I remember Liar Liar had just come out, and people would call like 100 times a day asking if we had Liar Liar in.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's a really good movie, so I understand the urgency of wanting to see it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But also, like, calm down.
Right. And it just shows how much times have changed, because now, like, with streaming, you don't have to worry about something you want to see already being rented.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not at all. Okay, I have no idea where we were in the episode, but yeah, so Max is being tortured by a sumo wrestler at his mom's command because he doesn't have a job. And this is like a nightmare that he's having.
Mm-hmm. And then we have special guest star Jeffrey Combs, who's in Reanimator and all sorts of fun horror stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Max gets a phone call that wakes him up, and it's either Lonnie or Laura calling him. I don't know at this point.
No, it's a new girl. Her name is Ryan.
Oh, I thought it was Lonnie or Laura.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, Ryan is calling, and
yes.
They're going to go on a surfing vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Which, they live in Springwood. How much surfing time do they have to practice, you know? Like, where,
that's true.
Where do they practice surfing?
Why would you even own a surfboard if you lived in Ohio?
Yeah, I don't own a surfboard. I couldn't even tell you where to get a surfboard. Amazon, maybe, but...
Yeah, but that's his plan for the summer, is that they're just going to travel and surf all summer.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, then the mom comes in with Jeffrey Combs, who is his uncle. Yeah, it's the mom's younger brother.
Mm-hmm.
And he's only 5 years older than Max. Yeah, and his name is Ralph. And so the mom and Ralph come in, and they tell him, she tells him that money is tight and his plans need to change, and he needs to get a job, and that he needs to work all summer, and then he can take a trip for 1 week at the end of the summer after he's earned all the money for it.
Mm-hmm. And that he would have a better time on vacation knowing that he earned that vacation instead of having it just handed to him. And I can tell you, for one, because I've had vacations handed to me, and I've also earned vacations, they feel the same. So it doesn't matter if you earn it or not. I mean, going to the beach is going to the beach no matter how you got there. So
yeah,
they all feel the same.
And also, like, he gets so upset, he says, "Now I know why Dad left."
Oh, I know.
It's really, the family members in this episode they say pretty mean things to each other.
Yeah, they do, which is probably why the dad left.
Right.
Uncle Ralph ends up getting Max a job at Cheesy Boy, which used to be Beefy Boy, and that was the commercial that played at the beginning of the episode.
Yes.
Yeah, and Ralph went to business school, but yet he's a manager at a pizza place. And I'm not trying to knock anybody who's a manager at a pizza place, but I also think that if you went to business school, that is not the job that you would have.
I think he's in business school. Like, he's currently in business school.
He's currently in business school?
Yeah.
Okay.
But as someone who went to business school, yes, that is not it's not generally the job you.
Okay.
It's usually, if you go to business school, is usually 2 years if you go full-time, or 3 years if you go part-time, but generally, so I was in this 2-year program. In the summer in between, you're supposed to do like a paid internship, but that's where you're learning about the business world. It's not like getting a summer job in high school or college. You're supposed to be doing something that's, going to further your career.
Well, if he's 5 years older than Max, shouldn't he have already graduated? Unless he was like in the adult learning program. And he...
No. Well, if we're talking... Well, I was thinking of business school as MBA.
Okay. So he went 4 years for his bachelor's, and now he's getting his business degree.
Right. Well, unless, I guess the pizza place would make more sense if he was getting an undergraduate business degree, and maybe he took a year or two off between high school and college.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's possible.
Anyway, so yeah, Ralph's the day manager in the pizza place. And they make specific references to past episodes. In terms of Beefy Boy, they say like one boy was shot here and one was hit by a car.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
that was kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Another gory scene where Max falls asleep while he's working, and Ralph wakes him up, and then I guess because he's startled from being woken up, he takes a pizza cutter and cuts down the middle of Ralph's face, and you see like a close up of him doing that.
Yeah, they really went all out for this episode, which is totally cool.
Mm-hmm.
So after he dreams about slicing his uncle's face off, Max wakes up, and then he gets a lecture about all his mess ups. He's like, because Max is purposely trying to get fired.
Yeah, whereas Ralph says, like, in a year I'm going to own this place. Like the pizza place is part of his career plan.
Which, is that something that you would want to do going to business school?
It seems like a weird way to do it. Like you'd want to like learn about business and then get into it from the business side of things, not the
labor
working
side.
Behind the counter side of the things. Yeah.
Yeah, because that threw me off too. Anyway, so Max is trying to get fired, but Ralph one-ups him, and he says that he's going to move him to third shift, which is like no one ever comes in, and he will be commission-based only, which I think breaks every labor law known to man.
I was thinking that too. Like, he could be paid on commission, assuming he was at least guaranteed minimum wage, right?
Yeah, but he's commission-based only.
Mm-hmm.
So if he like only sells $2 worth of pizza, then he only gets that $2.
Just another scene of like family members saying awful things to each other. They say, he says, like, you, Max says to Ralph, you cheated your way through college and you didn't even make it out of Springwood. Oh, so I guess he is in a graduate business program if he's done with college. Yeah. So.
Okay.
But yeah, everybody in this episode is mean.
Yeah, they are. So now Max is working third shift and he's commission based, and so Max gets the brilliant idea of having a third shift party, like pizza party, to drive business in, and it's like you come in and you can make your own pizza. And he's just killing it. Like, he is making so much money because all his, like, high school friends are coming in, and it's after hours, and they're just, like, having a party, and it's great.
Right, and it's sort of like the episode wants to make it look like he's being irresponsible, but it's actually, like, he's being smart. It's a good idea.
It is a good idea. Because I was thinking, like, oh, if I opened a pizza place, that's a great idea. Yeah. Come in and just make your own pizza. Yeah. Yeah. So he's like totally killing it, making tons and tons of money. And then Ralph comes in one night to see like how he's making all this money, and he sees like how well Max is doing, which completely spoils his plans of making sure that Max is like destitute. And he cancels pizza night.
Yeah.
Meanie.
Right, which just doesn't seem in the best interest of the business. He should be like, oh wow, like, I mean, if he wants to take it over for himself, then yeah, but they should keep he should want the pizza place to be this lively place full of teenagers at night.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what business school he went to, but I don't think he was paying attention during the profit part of it.
Right. Yeah, and he says like there's only room for one superstar here. And then he keeps saying this weird thing about like, I've got the best ingredients, ingredients you've never dreamed of.
So Max is told to go downstairs to like clean up or get more flour or something. And he ends up falling asleep. And then when he wakes up, his uncle, he sees that his uncle is putting his friends in the cheese. Like, he's cutting up his friends and putting them in the cheese and in the dough.
Yeah, that's what Ralph's doing, but Max doesn't realize it yet.
Oh, okay.
Like, there's this, like, his friends are missing and the pizzas are all selling really well.
But like, he doesn't know why yet. Only the audience does. Okay.
But then he does. I think he's like leaving, and then he comes back because he forgot his keys, and he sees Ralph putting people parts into a blender.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like the pizzas are just selling like hotcakes. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, like if just a bunch of cannibals live in Springwood.
Right.
What's going on?
Yeah. Did you ever see Sweeney Todd?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, isn't that the plot of that? I mean, with meat pies instead of pizza, but it's like they're made with people and everybody loves them and they're selling really well.
Yeah, the barber from Butch Street or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's hacking all his customers into pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah. Max left his keys and Max left his keys in the basement and he comes back and that's when he discovers that his friends are in the pizza. So Ralph tries to kill Max in order to like cover up what he's doing, but he misses, and then Max throws Ralph in the oven, which kind of felt like Hansel and Gretel a little bit.
I mean, it seemed when that happened, I was thinking, well, why doesn't he just call the police?
Because this is Springwood, and the police are terrible.
Right, good point. Someone will forget to sign a search warrant in the right place. But yeah, he cranks up the oven, and then Max wakes up, mm-hmm. and it's all been a dream, and he had just fallen asleep downstairs doing inventory.
Mm-hmm.
But then he remembers, this was kind of weird, like there's a line at the beginning when he's first at the pizza place saying, don't turn the oven up past 600, something like that.
Yeah.
And then he realizes he wakes up downstairs and realized he'd set the oven too high, but I'm not sure why he had cranked up the oven.
Well, the owner of the pizza place, when Max was getting his training, told him don't put it over 600 because the oven can't handle that much heat and the whole place will blow up. And then I think Max, before he went downstairs to like readjust all the flour or whatever he was doing, accidentally cranked it up to 600. Like,
okay.
Because he was trying to get fired. So he cranked it up to 600 so he would get fired. But then he fell asleep when he was rearranging all the flour, and that's when he dreamt that his uncle was putting his friends in all the pizza. So when he wakes up, he sees that his uncle is actually stealing money out of the cash register, and then the building explodes with the uncle in it.
Yes.
Yeah, because Max gets out somehow. The uncle doesn't.
Max is in the basement, but I would think
that the basement would blow up too.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't want to be in the basement when a building explodes.
It's flour flammable. Maybe he was protected by all the flour.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you get some water, you can make some paper mache, make a nice paste out of it. You're fine. You're fine. Yeah. So yeah, the building explodes with Uncle Ralph inside, and then we see that Max now owns the pizza place. How he managed that, I don't know. And he has taken Ralph's idea of putting humans in the pizza, and he's like making a killing, and that's how it ends.
Right. And then we see Freddy with like a pizza with fingers and eyeballs on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which that's like a total Freddy thing to do. How'd you feel about this episode?
I thought it was fun. I think I like both halves, because I like the fatal attraction thing at the beginning was entertaining, and Jeffrey Combs is great. Like him being the creepy uncle was fun. So yeah, I liked it. What did you think?
I liked the second half a lot more than the first half. I was really digging the first half until they did that pointless switcheroo of Lonnie and Laura, and now I'm just all confused, and I don't know why they did that. But yeah, I liked the second half. I think the second half could have been like the whole episode. They could have like drawn it out a little bit more.
Yeah.
I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I appreciate we've mentioned this a few times, but that they really upped the gore for this episode. It was kind of surprising how much they did.
Yeah, it was cool. Do you have anything for next week?
Thanks so much for listening. Please join us next week when we talk about Season 1, Episode 18, The Art of Death, where we are introduced to Freddy's buddy, the Phantom.